Hi, I'm Claire, and this is my video for MBS Fromm. It's a psychology class studying Eric Fromm's A Man for Himself, an inquiry into the psychology of ethics. And what we've really been working on is learning to become pilots of the soul or the psyche. And the psyche has been explained through Joseph Campbell's structure of the psyche, Maslow's hierarchy of truths, and theory of hierarchy of needs, really. And we've just been studying a bunch of different things, comparing what real productive love is, what truth is, and the need for that. We've also been studying the mandala and motion, and it's all been really interesting to compare and see how they all connect, so we can better understand not only our relationship with others, but our relationship with ourselves. Because as young adults, we're trying to figure out where we want to go with our lives and what we want to do with our futures to make everything kind of go together and figure out and achieve our full potentials. So I'm going to read an excerpt from the book Eric Fromm's A Man for Himself. And let's see if I can find it. Of course, just lost it. And where is it? Okay. Apologize for this right now. I did not mean to lose this. Okay. The disharmony of man's existence generates needs which far transcend those of his animal origin. These needs result in an imperative drive to restore unity and equilibrium between himself and the rest of nature. He makes the attempt to restore this unity and equilibrium in the first place in thought by constructing an all-inclusive mental picture of the world which serves as a frame of reference from which he can derive an answer to the question where he stands and what he ought to do. But such thought systems are not sufficient. If man were only a disembodied intellect, his aim would be achieved by a comprehensive thought system. But since he is an entity endowed with a body as well as a mind, he has to react to the dichotomy of his existence, not only in thinking, but also in the process of living, in his feelings and actions. He has to strive for the experience of unity and oneness in all spheres of his being in order to find a new equilibrium. So this idea of unity and with all of man's beings connecting really made me connect to what we've been talking about in class, which is the mandala. And the mandala is a 5-phased realization of what is true of life for a human being. This 5-phased approach is transmitted to students by way of series of 5 elemental codes for possible emotional and physical responses to aggression. And these elements include fire, water, earth, wind, and the formless potential, also known as void. And they make up the mandala's mental map, which is a distinctive pattern of 5 interconnected regions and realms. And these 5 center figures and their symbolic elements each represent a distinct and particular coming together of potentials, psychological aspects, physical characteristics, views on life, temperaments, inner values, roots of potential, and transformations of limitations into awakened powers. They're kinds of life-driving tendencies, which each have been given a name as a label to differentiate itself from others. And it gives a particular aspect of wisdom into yourself and which elements you associate with, and kind of give you a way to learn to master it in the positive direction versus the negative direction, which comes out in every part of life. There's always goods and there's bads. And what you ultimately want to achieve is to get each of these elements and pull out the positives in yourself of each of these elements and balance them, which a lot of people are often one or two or bits and pieces of a couple and like more stronger in another versus all at once, which is really hard to do. Like you could spend your entire life training at this and never accomplish it, but it's like a different form of enlightenment. And so earth is stability, water is knowledge, fire is connection, wind is free movement or mobility, and void is fulfillment. And it's a way for you to kind of assess what your full potential could be and move you in the direction of learning more about yourself and where you could go with your life. So it talks about the positive and negatives of ourselves and how we can take that and move forward with our lives. If you can assess your weaknesses and your strengths, then you have such a better idea of how you can handle a situation and keep yourself from going from those negative areas that you know you could get trapped into. I myself am a very intense person, and that can either be a really good thing and help me get things done, or it can overwhelm me and others around me, and then it doesn't help anyone and it just kind of limits the possibilities for the situation to grow and become better. So it's not only with ourselves, but it's with like life itself. So you could see all of these different aspects, like Earth's aspects. The negative expression is complacent, stubborn, repressed, dictatorial, self-centered, while the positive is seeing the value of what we have, confident, conservative, commanding, and manifesting abundance. So you have all these possibilities in your life that you can achieve, but it's really the direction that you and the way you see it that can lead you in either a good way or a bad way. But these also carry over into our character traits. You could see someone and be like, oh my gosh, they're totally a fire. They're that mean of connection. They walk in the room and everyone notices them and they're just like, that person, that fire person, becomes whoever, whether they choose to or not, is that person that everyone else likes. They are just immediately drawn to them. There's something about them that makes everyone feel welcome. And that can be a great thing, or it could be someone who kind of steals the center of attention. So it's really how you look at it, but it's also how you experience it. And not only are these 5 elements of the mandala like characteristics of a person, but it's also, I think, characteristics of life experiences. You could see an experience and you could associate it with an element, like the fire element. You could be a very earth person who's kind of held back and a source of stability, but then you could go to a party and see everyone, and that experience for you was so much like a fire that you felt connected with everyone, and it wasn't necessarily like you doing all of these actions, but the atmosphere itself presented itself that way. And in From, we've also talked about how we should associate words with experiences in our lives and emotions and like all those different parts. And I think the mandala is a good way to kind of see that as well. You could have a word such as exhilarating, and that could be associated with like confidence and connection and all of these things. And then you could think of an instance in your life where you took charge of a situation and afterwards you felt so happy and like ready to go and confident in yourself that you would associate with that word. But what the mandala also made me realize is there's really a big importance in truth, and truth not only is limited to ourselves, but life itself. I think it's really important to be honest with who you are and who you become. And you can either take that in a constructive way and learn from it so you can be closer to achieving your full potential, or you could just shut down and refuse to learn. And I think life is meant to learn. And that's what I've really gotten out of MBS is taking everything that is offered and trying to make the most of it. What we've discussed is there's different beings. There's a physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual being, and the experiences are varied. It depends on what kind of realm you're working with. So there's all of these different things we've talked about in class. I'm sorry this video is so long. It's just all of it coming together: productive love, the mandala, honesty and truth with yourself and your being, working towards achieving your full potential. All of it comes together, and I think it's a really interesting way to see our lives work, and I think it's an interesting way to see how we can try and make our lives work better for ourselves and for others. So thank you, and bye.